Hey everyone, I'm back. I'm back once again this week with a live, and I thought I would bring along with me some folks that I fan and I drool over because they're so awesome in the world and they're supporting businesses. But they're just amazing people as a part of my community. And I told y'all it was coming. I told y'all I was gonna create this opportunity for the folks that I get advice from that have coaches in their own right, in this new segment that I'm calling Boss and Friends. And so on this first installment of this year, in 2021, I wanted to bring along Mrs. Yunche Wilson. Yunche, what's going on?
Hey, Lawrence, how are you?
If I was doing any better, it'd be criminal. Uh, but today I just want to highlight you, and I wanted just created this space, right? We talked through making sense about supporting each other, not just in word, but also in deed, and in opening up platforms and opportunities for us to have conversations. And I would be remiss, and I actually be pretty daggone stingy, if I kept the amazing people that are in my community a secret. And so that's why we're kicking this off. And so if you could tell people a little bit about yourself before we get into the conversation of what makes you so dope in the world.
Absolutely. I am a fractional CMO. I've been in marketing for the last 15 years. That's what I do. Um, the B2B world is a very unique world, very, very different from the B2C landscape. And I have grown up in the tech world, done some biotech, transportation logistics. So I've been able to really kind of have my hand in different industries, which has given me invaluable insight when working with other clients.
So so let me get this right. You you connect amazing people in the B2B space, and you put some swag on it. That's what I heard. I don't know if my ears is working too good, but you put some layers and some swag on it.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like my tagline, what I say is I build authenticity in B2B marketing. And that's just not a thing. Like, well, number one, B2B marketing isn't taught in school. When I went to college, it wasn't taught. It was very much hands-on training, in the field training, and you had to get a mentor to really figure it out. And then with that, it iterates very slowly. Concepts that are really normal to us as entrepreneurs, things that we would just do in marketing, creating funnels and retargeting and boom, 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 like all of these things. It's a slow process. You typically don't see it until you get to much larger organizations. And then even with that, it's still very robotic. They still consider like their B2B buyers to be this logical, almost Vulcan like individual, like there's no emotion. And I constantly tell my clients, guys, the same behavior that they have when they're out there shopping on Amazon, they bring that in the boardroom. They're still emotional creatures. And the idea that you think that they aren't is a problem. And I promise you, the companies that are figuring out how to connect with them as human beings, those are the ones preparing and future proofing their marketing and the business.
Did you just say future? Future
Future
what?
proofing, future
Future
proofing.
proofing. Hashtag future proofing. So here's the crazy part about it and the dopeness of the people that I'm connected to, because you just made B2B marketing sound like some of the sexiest stuff that I've ever heard of in my life. Um, but you introduced a word that is basically turned into t-shirt material over the last, I would say, year, and that's authenticity. And so when
Yes.
you're describing it in your terms, what is it? What is your definition of authenticity?
So authenticity in the B2B landscape is really focused on connecting who you are as an individual. A brand, a logo is just the image behind a bunch of people. The perfect example is, I have some clients that I work with in ABM marketing, and so many times we get caught up in, I want to go and market to Samsung. I want to go market to Nike. I want to go, no, you don't. You want to market to Sarah, who is the director of sales within Nike. And what you need to figure out is what is going on with Sarah? What is Sarah like? What is happening with Sarah? Does Sarah have children? Is she married? Does she like hiking? It's a personalized approach, and it has to be, because the moment that keep looking at people as a logo, you objectify them. And this objectification removes the humanity in everything that you do. And that's what turns marketing from just this graphic design, event planning type of thing into sales enablement. And that's why, my philosophy is that marketing and sales have to coexist with one another. They have to have a symbiotic pod-like relationship in order to be successful. Otherwise, what are we doing?
You better come through with the vocabulary words early. We ain't even 5 minutes in and you already throwing stuff out there. I told y'all I know dope people. I told y'all, right? It's this proof is in the pudding. But I love what you said right there is that you aren't trying to really get to the entire organization. You're just trying to get to the person that's going to say yes. And so that person has potentially some backstory and information of what the actual organization needs. And if you get them on the hook, then because they're thinking about what the organization needs, but you got to get to the gatekeeper. And so when you think about just what you do, how'd you end up doing this?
I gotta tell you, it was kind of fell into my lap. So there was a period of time where I completely thought about quitting marketing. Probably right before we decided to leave the United States. We were the family that was like, so if that dude gets elected and things go south, we're out. And in 2017, we decided we were out. Like I was not about to be a full paying tax citizen to be treated like a second class citizen. I'm not with that. I mean, people put a more of a fuss when they go to a restaurant and they don't get their order right. Like, no, absolutely not. So we chose to leave. And started our travels in Thailand and traveled the world as a family. And it was during that time where I really started to iterate on, okay, who do I want to be? And I didn't really have clarity of that in the US. I was simply focusing on surviving and existing in the realm of knowledge that I have, that I didn't have room for anything else. So leaving gave me the room to breathe as a human being and as an individual, and it allowed me to explore so much more. So then I was like, oh, I do have this knowledge. Oh, I have created these results. Oh, well, why haven't I been saying that? If it was like I could finally think better. And once that happened, I realized, I'm like, Yunche, you've been operating in this CMO space technically without calling yourself a CMO for too long, which means that I've been underpaid for a very long time too. So it was simply switching the name, showcasing the results of what I could deliver and operating in that space.
So you just loaded that thing on up with a whole lot of goodness and really, if you talk about what you do in the value proposition, right? If we're going to keep some corporate ease in this conversation, you had to actually have that conversation with yourself first, right? Because we're not going to talk about that guy. We know what guy, because he is informing my PhD right now about what not to do. But this whole nother story. But when you think about that value proposition conversation that you had to have with yourself in that conversation and getting real with yourself, like outside of moving, outside of getting, changing your space so you could think differently and see differently with your family, how important was that for you?
It was everything, because I think we all go through moments of having imposter syndrome, no matter how much experience we have, no matter, how many results we've created, no matter how amazing people tell us we are. There's a point in time in our career, whether it's entrepreneurs or in corporate, where you just have this moment where you're like, am I enough? Like, can I do this? And I certainly went through that, truthfully. And the thing is that, believe it or not, many of the clients I've worked with, they too go through that. They just didn't know what to call it. And oftentimes they're just not operating at their supreme level because they simply don't know that they can. It's like you just need to give yourself that permission to operate at that highest level of who you are, right? And so it's kind of like once I took the governors off of, okay, this limitation, it was like, I'm just going to do the thing. And you either going to love it or you're not. And those who love it, those are my ideal clients. And that's just going to be what it is. And I had to start, in order to have this message of authenticity, I had to start operating in my true authentic self. because who would I be to talk about authenticity without also doing that? So, it took some time for me to really step out from behind the curtain, being the person who did all the things and fixed all the things. And I was that person giving those ideas in the boardroom, to now being a forefront, showcasing my story, telling my truth, and living in it, and not caring about or filtering the message of my truth because someone doesn't like it. And that's the beauty of what 2020 did. It allowed us to live in our unapologetic truth unfiltered. And that's powerful.
Where's the music at? We in the jazz club, the poem.
That's
Like
right.
we need a band to go along with that. That is, all I can say is preach. Those, and I think you put into words and you framed 2020 right for a lot of us, and it really it's funny. On another community, Rocket Vision, we had a whole episode about imposter syndrome. And again, my buddy John is in the chat, and he's going ham because we talk about that, of how limiting we allow ourselves to. We know we put ourselves in a box, right? Let alone the people who were trying to do it for us. But then we'll go ahead and listen to those messages, the little minions on your shoulder, whatever it is, and you take yourself out the game. And I love the fact that you were like, nah, it's time to stop playing small, and to really shed those things so that I'm not dragging that into what I desire to have as a reality. And it starts with authenticity of self. And when you came upon that and you were like, okay, this is specificity, right? In its essence for me and my brand and my business. How is that translated to the types of clients that you're supporting?
It's interesting because when I started focusing on this message of authenticity, I was used to working with very stuffy, traditional kind of organizations. And I'm like, I don't know how this is going to go over. But here's the key. The key to marketing that I learned a long time ago was that most companies saw marketing as a cost center instead of a profit center. And as long as I was able to tie the message of, listen, you got to be authentic, and this is how it ties to revenue, I knew I'd have their attention. So the key to it is comprehending how to create authentic based marketing that completely attracts your target audience, and then have that enabled with what sales is doing, because at the end, a sale helps increase revenue. And then from that revenue, you want to extend the lifetime value of that client, and that's where customer retention comes in. So marketing needs to be a part of that as well. So as I begin to put together these pieces to help them comprehend, look, marketing is now operational. I believe B2B marketing needs to be reframed. It's sales enablement. How you enable sales to do the job that needs to be done, because it takes the idea that, oh, marketing is just graphics and events and like they put out words and social media. No. You're talking only top of the funnel type of things. I'm talking about complete operational things that impact company goals. So that's how I've been able to tie in that message of authenticity into a language that they really understand.
Yeah, and what's really jumping out as me is you talk about something that they understand. It really starts and really coming up as sustainability, and that what you said, lifetime operational. Like when a company is thinking about what they're going to invest in, more times than not, if I'm that senior VP of operations or anything else like that, you're thinking about second, third, and fourth order effects. And so if the marketing or the strategies that are being introduced don't take into mind, like, how is this going to help us 10 years from now, or at least have a bullet or two about what that's going to do, then it's like, okay, you're not thinking about big picture. Right. And so for you to approach it that way, like, no, I'm not talking about 1 year, like that's already taken care of or should be. I'm talking about what do you look like in year 2, 3, 4, and then backwards plan from that, so that we're putting something comprehensive together. And I love that you embodied it, right? Like you took it on, like this isn't just some book you read and all the rest of the things like that. What has been some of the responses that you've had in the way that you've approached sustainability from a marketing operational standpoint?
Oh, it's been more like, wow, like wait, what? That's the biggest thing. It's like, oh, I've never heard of marketing that way. And I'm like, yo, it's 2021. And this is still new information for companies. I'm talking 8,000 employee organization new kind of thing. So it tells me that there's still so much work to do, and there's so much of an ability for marketers to, gain traction. And it's one of the biggest reasons why I created my course, B2B Marketing Decoded, which is all focused on being transformational, creating transformational products and results oriented marketing. Because yes, we know, you've got to have all the data, and you're tracking everything and how many clicks and engagement and blah, 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 blah. And that's all cute. But at the end of the day, how far did it go down the pipeline for sales? How many times did it take for you to engage before they became a customer? Those are the things that, you want to focus on. What kind of buyer's journey do you have? Is your buyer's journey too long? Like, are you activating the content at the right time in this buyer's journey? Is it humanized? The course that I created is what I would have wished I would have had like 10 years ago. and it's interactive, it's focused, it's not a DIY thing, because I mean, come on, like there's a lot of DIY stuff. So I handhold my students through it so that they can ask the questions. It feels customized. And it's a part of something that they can implement immediately into whatever it is that they're doing.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because I'm gonna be honest. There is stuff I know my capacity as a business owner, and there are some things I just don't want to do. And so if somebody on my team is gonna help me do it, I'm sending them to the course, because that's not what I want to do. Right. And I think for a lot of businesses, particularly those that are trying to scale and anything else, you have too many people trying to be too many things for the organization. And most of them say, hey, do you have an e-solution? Yes, I do. But when you look at the statistics on completion rates of e-learning without the instructors being involved, like it's extremely low. Particularly, I mean, and again, unless you have the elements of gamification and all these other elements that you need to have as a part of your e-learning, which is important. I like to know that somebody's going to be on the other line. I like to know I have a lifeline, if you will, to any learn strategy. And when you encounter learners as you handhold them, and I love that, because sometimes that turns into babysitting. But when you walk them through, what are they getting on the other end as it pertains to their capacity?
So on the other end, this course is kind of embodying almost all of my 15 years of experience and what I learned along the way. Clients, a lot of times, will have a certain skill set or certain knowledge within a specific area, especially in the B2B realm. You typically don't hop different industries. And because I saw the pattern being repeated. They were really, really good at this one thing and then had no idea in this realm, or they were a jack of all trades and never mastered anything. So this course is focused on outlining and simplifying what is typically really technical language into a way that's like, okay, here's a lesson, here's the worksheet. And then after the worksheet, I'm holding you accountable. You need to respond in the group. You need to show me what you did in the worksheet so that I know that they understand. So if you don't respond, or if you're not doing these things in a proper order, then I'm going to reach out to you and say, hey, Jennifer, what's going on? You didn't understand? Do we need to have a session? Do we need to talk? And the thing is that it's like college, right? Like we spent $75,000. I spent $75,000 on my degree. I didn't have a professor do that for me. U of H looked at me and was like, hi, thanks for your money. Hope you have a good day. And it was out of date in 2 to 3 years. Like, done deal. No one complained about it. Like, you just know it's the thing you have to do in life. And it kind of feels like a crappy deal. It's like I spent all of that money. It took me just this far, but in truth, what has gotten me even further has been my hands-on experience. It's the fact that I am a lifelong learner. I am a student of life. So this course embodies all the different ways that I had to learn to kind of pass that on to them so that it can be effective, not only in their learning, but in their implementation, because knowledge is not power. Action with the knowledge is what's powerful.
Oh, Dropping dimes. So the funny part about it is I have a bunch of educator friends, and of course my educator wife, they're loving the hands-on approach and check on learnings. And so you're like speaking their language. They're like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You like and it's funny because we talk about adult learning styles and adult learning models, and it's all about experience. Like that's what it's all coming back to. Whether you're a visual learner or whereas you're auditory, you're still trying to have an experience. And if you're not engaged, again, once you give it to people, then the organization, how are they building out as pertains to putting these things into action? Then that's the real secret sauce. And you got several coaches in the room that if you're in the field of coaching, you signed up to be a lifelong learner. I hope you did, because your clients are evolving, their situations and scenarios are evolving, or at least it is for the person. So if you as a coach aren't evolving, then you're pretty much dead in the water. But when you think about next steps, right, and what you see, right, I love that. A lifelong learner means you're researching every interaction, you're collecting data. Like what are you really seeing as it pertains to this B2B marketing, and just the future of work for you and others who are trying to get into what you're doing?
It's interesting. The biggest thing that I saw, especially with the change of COVID, because I had to pivot, I had to make modifications to what I was offering, is that companies want consultants. They want people that they can kind of call on that have this really vast level of experience, but without really undermining the full-time employees that they hired, right? And it works perfect because I don't want your job. I'm not here to take your job. Don't sign me up. I don't want the 401k. I don't want none of it. I'm good where I am. I just want to come and help you be better. So that, because if you're better, then another company is going to get better, and then so on and so forth. Because naturally companies are competitive, which that's a whole other conversation. And, it creates this almost this like reactiveness that they're going to copy one another. So one of the core things that I ended up creating, because I saw this trend, was I created a workshop, because clients oftentimes will want to work with me, but they're like, I don't know, like I don't want the long-term commitment. I don't know what the budget's going to look like. So I created this 3-day interactive workshop specifically for B2B companies, where I go in and I'm basically applying all of the knowledge and skills that you're going to get. Like, you're going to get the best of me for like 4 to 5 hours during this 3-day time period. And we're going to go hard. We're going to go and analyze exactly what's going wrong in your marketing, not just your marketing, but I want to know what's happening with sales. Why aren't you communicating with sales? What's the barrier here? How do you make sure that those two work more cohesively together? Because that is the primary key for businesses to do more revenue. Having these two, departments speaking to one another helps to bridge a lot of the core issues. And not just that, I'm looking at their marketing strategy. I'm looking at their journey, their resources, all of the things that they have together. And then while we're in these workshops, we're talking about it live. I'm iterating and providing that consulting on a live basis. So it doesn't feel like a long-term commitment, but you're getting so much out of it. And the team that I work with is getting upskilled right then and there. So trainings, and oftentimes companies don't spend enough money in marketing because of the fact that they still see it as a cost center. They'll send their salespeople to these glamorous trainings and all of these things all the time. And poor little marketing's got to depend on YouTube. That that's what they got to do, and they got to beg to go to the conference. So these workshops become these condensed versions of customized skill sets that you need, not this really wide range of learn how to do what on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I don't need to know how to do Facebook ads. I need to know how to do LinkedIn ads. So that's the kind of things that I've been realizing. They need these more customized, quick injections of knowledge and expertise that gets them to the other side of where they're trying to get to. Transformation. That's what I focus on. Transformation.
I love it. I love it. And shout out to the consultants that have commercial off the shelf stuff, because you're about to be outdated. So you need to so customization is key, because here's the deal. When you walk into a store and you see a rack of shirts and they're all the same shirts, and then you find the one your size, the experience and why you buy comes from the person who engages you. That's really what it amounts to. It comes from the person, the salesperson that associate that comes up to you and say, hey, may I help you? Are
Yeah.
you finding what you're looking for? Right? That's what makes me stay in your store longer. If I walk into a store, I'm telling you right now, I'm coming for the experience, right? And shout out to the restaurants out there that have long lines. It's the experience. It's not your food.
Nope.
Like I'm just telling you now. So keep up the experience. But it's and I love what you said about the consultant thing. It's like, look, I'm not trying to put up a brick and mortar inside your organization. Like that's not good business for me. But good business for me is, hey, I can customize. I actually meet the needs. But then what you said is an upskill. And then I know recurring business happens when you get new people. And so you need me to come back and do the same engagement, or you need a tune up. That's how I want to come back. I don't want to set up a brick and mortar. I don't. I want our experience with each other to grow, to evolve, and all the rest of that. So I love that you said that. So shout out to the consultants who is out there transforming lives inside of organizations, and you not cookie cutter. I love it. Now, here's the thing. You do have those things that start with a base, but based on your client, it shouldn't stay that way. It should take on a new life based on the client that you're meeting, right? So no, again, I jest with the commercial off the shelf folks a little bit. I just a little bit. But you mentioned in this short little time we've been together, you've mentioned several offerings and several things that you do for organizations for them to upskill. And so as we kind of put a bow on this thing, this first iteration of Boss and Friends, I want you to tell people how can they find you, and then what are you offering to help them upskill?
Yeah. So the best way to connect with me is socially is going to be on LinkedIn, Yunche Wilson, exactly as you see it spelled. And you can go to my website, SolomonBellMGMT.com. It's right on my profile. And you'll see everything that I have to offer. I don't like to offer a whole lot of things. I like to be very specific. So workshops are dedicated to B2B companies of, small business all the way to enterprise. My course is going to be for any B2B marketer or business owner, the business owners who are looking to do business with the B2B world, and you want to understand the way that they think, and you need that shortcut. Basically, this course gives it to you. And then finally, you can connect with me one-on-one. Some of my clients, I go through and I do 90-day engagements. I don't like to do long-term engagements because the fact is I may not like you and you may not like me. And this is my authentic self talking. The 90-day engagements are a really good short-term amount of time to say, are you ready to really work with someone like me? And we get to know one another. And if it works out well, fantastic. We keep going. I continue to create transformational results for you. And if not, no hard feelings. It's only 90 days.
You know what? I told you. I know some amazing people. We don't hold no grudges, y'all. Like, it's a two-way street. You say yes to me, I gotta say yes to you too, because you may be a thirst trap, and you may say yes to me, and I come in, and you really don't want to do no work, and that's not good for any of us. And so I love that you said that. And we just might not like each other. It's okay. We can still catch coffee. We can still be friends, and where you are in the world, they got to catch a plane to get to where so that's an expensive trip for some coffee. And for you, if they want you to come in and do, and when that world opens back up, that's a real conversation. And so I just want to say thank you so much for getting to hang out with me. And I hope you blow up.
You're amazing.
2021. I want you to have just unleashed success in everything that you do. And we're gonna hang out again. We're gonna hang out again. Yes.
Good. Some good trouble.
Yeah, hey, hey, I tell you what, I'm all in some good trouble. So thank you so much. So if you're my buddy, my friend, my pal out there, and you're in my community, and I see a couple of you coaches that are going to be on the podcast and some other things, just reach out to me. I want to make sure that people are introduced to you. Don't be scared. Let's jump on here. Let's make some audio and video magic happen, so that you can stop hoarding your gift. And so the world knows how to get access to you, because at the end of the day, I believe there's enough for everybody. There's nobody taking business from anybody. Only way you could get business taken from you is by not being excellent. And so put yourself out there, show up as excellent every single time, and we don't have any problems. But this is us signing off on the first episode of Boss and Friends. So have a great one, everyone. Be safe, be safe, be safe. Continue to wear a mask. I will talk to you all later.